This Pitch Breakfast video is brought to you by Spangler & Agins, attorneys for Charlotte's startup community.
Good morning, boys and girls. I want you to take out your pencils, your notepads. I don't want you to draw a scientist. Quick, I have 5 minutes up here. And this. Okay. When you drew your scientist, when you think of a scientist, what comes to mind? Learning how to work the clicker. Is it the three whites? White male, white jacket, white hair, nerdy characteristics. You know, although this test was done over 60 years ago, 2 anthropologists asked the same question to over 35,000 school-age kids, and this was the most popular image. Unfortunately, today, it still is. Nothing much has changed. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jacqueline Thomas, and I'm a scientist. When I first came up with, I am also the founder of Girls Pursuing Science. And when I first founded Girls Pursuing Science, the idea was to elevate a girl's natural ability, her natural ability, because there's girls and women, and all the girls in the room here can relate to this. We have a natural ability to think, create, discover, and lead. And doing that, I wanted to introduce girls to science and advanced science and math as early as 4th grade. Then it had to be fun, so I wanted to do something that was relevant to their lifestyles. And last but not least, I wanted to empower them with business tools that they could use to actually change all the statistics, all the gender imbalances. You know them. Girls lag boys in math and science. And when they get to middle school, there's a leaky pipeline somewhere that they fall through the cracks. So when we get to college, we major in engineering, we major in computer science, but unfortunately, when we get to the workplace, we make 80 cents to your dollar as a male. So I wanted to empower them with tools that they could actually use to change the gender imbalances. Why do I care? Quite frankly, why should you care? We need to, it's very important that we inoculate these stereotypes so we can plug this leaky pipeline that I talked about. Because people, if you do not see, or if you cannot envision a scientist, if you continue to see he, you would never see me, nor will our kids. And as a result, humanity loses. Next, a diverse workforce is better, is faster, is stronger. And I can tell you there's nothing more beautiful than a group of diverse scientists in a room solving a problem. Because I'm going to bring issues to that problem, or solutions to that problem, that you would never think of. After all, I'm a woman. I have things that you don't have, and you have things that I don't have. Lastly, given the problems that we're facing, like energy pollution, climate change, we cannot overcome these crises using the same homogeneous mindset that took the tools to get there. Lastly, our business model is simple. We connect schools, educators with girls and their families. Beautiful partnership. They pay us in advance. We run a debt-free operation. Our financial overview. We're very young. We just started. We started a pilot program last year in 2014. Our profit margin is about 65% with 3 weeks of summer camp and 1 school. We're still at that 1 school. This summer, 2015, we had 5 weeks of summer camp, and we still have the 1 school. 2016, starting in January, we have 3 schools in the pipeline. We actually partner, CMS is one of our partners, and we're currently actually in 5 of those schools, and another program to where we're working with Girls Pursuing Science. We plan to do 3 of those schools starting in January and end with 6 of those schools by 2017. The growth opportunity, we have schools in the pipeline. I get requests for schools every other day. To help me clone this doll and actually be able to push her across the state of North Carolina, inevitably nationwide, we need to clone our curriculum. We need to be able to repackage our curriculum and pass it off.
Jacqueline, next time. Analyst, what do you think? I'll go first. Thank you. It's good. It can be an exciting topic. I've got a couple observations. I think the first one, as an entrepreneur, you've got to be ready you've got to have your presentation chunked up into, okay, I have 3 minutes, I have 10 minutes, I have this audience, I have that audience. I feel like this is, I'm sure it's very, very early. I feel like this is sort of a one-size-fits-all presentation, and so you sort of had to kind of rush in the end, and you didn't get to like who's involved and things like that. Also, I think you took a lot of time in the beginning. If you had 20 minutes, then you could have spent 5 minutes talking about, why we want to do this. You had me immediately. Like, I get it. Like, yeah, that's a noble cause. I have a daughter. I have a son. I'm watching these. I want my daughter to be good at math. She's smart. I'm looking for that leaky pipeline. One thing that I might say is, so that when I first saw what you were talking about, I was attracted. But when you were like, when you went into the 80 cents on the dollar and then the you males, I was a little bit like, okay, yeah. I'm not the enemy here. So it's something that I would get right into what it is you do. Yeah, and I actually don't know right. I think it's summer camp, but like you put up a very, very general slide about putting girls and science and whatever, but like how? Like what is the actual thing?
Yeah, is there a product?
Right. It is.
Okay. Cool.
It is. I didn't get to it. We have a curriculum that we use, as well as a chemistry kit for girls that they use, and they're able to do their chemistry experiments with it during out of school time.
Right. The other thing that I would ask you is, are you trying to raise money for this, or are you trying to create awareness for this?
I am trying to raise money for it. Actually, we currently have a Kickstarter campaign that we're in 24 hours, and we've raised about 65% of the money that's needed to.
Way to go!
That's awesome.
That's awesome. So, your revenue slide is, there's not a lot of venture investors who would invest in a business whose plan is to have $100K in revenue 3 years from now. And so you were talking about how to package the curriculum and go a little bigger and all that sort of thing. I think it would probably be, if you want to raise money, and it wasn't clear to me that, I don't even know if I think it's a good idea for you to raise money, right, based on what you said. But if you want to raise money, if the picture that you're painting is, I'm going to get to $100,000 in revenue 3 years from now, most people are going to pass, right? Because it's just not going to be big enough. And so I think you should think about, do I want to raise money, or do I want to have patrons rather than investors? Do I just want to have people who support this thing from a mission standpoint? Because I think if you ask me for a check as an investment, I'm not in, because it's just too small. But if you ask me for a check as a supporter, I think I'm way more apt to do that.
Me too.
So that's kind of my take.
Yeah, absolutely.
What would y'all want to say?
I was thinking this. I'm sorry, without me raising my hand. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking that this would be, you'd have to find somebody who's really interested in raising awareness for girls. There's a lot of things like that. Girls can skate. There's all sorts of good stuff like that. I think it's a great topic, but you're going to find an individual. What Chris said kind of defines it even more closely. Is that this is a charitable opportunity somewhere that we maybe turn into a. I think so.
Yeah.
I like
yeah.
I would love to hear, you said you were a scientist, I would
Yeah. What were you going to say?
I think we have two sides to the coin. One side, which is very said, Rhonda, for bringing support and grants for the seminar and curriculum. The other side would be the commercialization side, which would be the chemistry kit. You know, how to peak interest with the chemistry kit that will be sold worldwide to peak interest girls getting into science.
Yeah.
So that's the commercialization side, and the other side would be the seminars, the curriculum as far as pharmacy
Right.
for supporters and grants.
That's right. I agree with that. That's what she said. What were you going to say, Christy? Step in here so people can hear you.
The first would be the business model. Not a slide on the business model, but it was some circles and it was generic. So I want to know more. If you're going to take that slide, give us a little bit more about what is the business model. I think we talked about what is the product, what's in it, as it relates to the business model. It was very generic to me. So the second piece is, as it relates, I think we still here cover nonprofit, and you're looking at where your trajectory is. I think the other thing you want to think about is who else is doing this. So how do you differentiate yourself against a project scientist, for example, that's offering STEM camps, summer camps in Charlotte that is a nonprofit? So you're going to have to figure out who you are and where you want to go, and then how you play with other players in the space.
Right.
Maybe there's collaboration opportunity. Maybe you do go to nonprofit space, but that immediately came to my mind as a project scientist is doing this.
Yeah. Hey, and I want to ask a question of the crowd. How many of you, don't look at your neighbor, answer honestly on your own. How many of you support the cause that Jackie's talking about? Raise your hand. This is the cause you support. Okay. So everybody in the room basically is with you, right? And at the very beginning, when you kind of painted the picture of, you know, hey, let's go solve this problem, everybody wanted to be with you. And there was a little moment of sort of like confrontation with the audience, right? And I don't think you need to do that, because like we all want to support you, like we're all with you, right? And like if you give me a nice broad on ramp to support you, I'm in. Like did anybody else feel that way? Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say.
You talk. Does somebody who hadn't talked want to talk?
I specifically went to mechanical engineering school, and I wish there were a lot more girls in my class. It was like my freshman class.
This guy belongs here.
My class was 250 people, my intro to mechanical engineering, and there were 15 girls out of 250.
So that greatly illustrates
Right.
your point. We've got one more right here.
Yeah, I was just, one of the things that you're promoting, which I didn't get out of the plan, was who are going to be the instructors? You know, why, you know, who is going to teach these kids? Who are going to, how are you getting your instructors as you roll this out? I mean, I know you can teach, but who, if you're going to try to move this into a bigger area?
But that kind of goes to her point, which is like you sort of need maybe patrons to go staff the events, right? So that you can have quality people, but then commercialize the product, right? Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Actually, I only had 5 minutes, and I guess
You did good.
I got off track with it.
Yeah.
But I have been in this space for a very long time. I started off as a nonprofit. I'm also the founder of Kids in Technology.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been around for 15 years, and what we do is we partner with colleges and universities. So we use STEM majors, kids that are in college, and they actually go in and they teach the classes. So I'm not the only one that's teaching in the summer.
Right.
And to your point, the question about project scientists actually deal with girls that are younger age. They do STEM, they do science, they do traditional science. We do the whole gamut of science, technology, engineering, and math, and we also have a business acumen, and we focus on older girls. So I appreciate all of your comments. I just missed it.
Right.
I just missed it here today, and I
But
just
you still did good. But you still did good because people
you-
still want to support you, right? I mean, like, you did, it was good.
Let's give Jack on the
Way to go, Jack.